Hello, I'm David DeCosmo. Welcome to Preview, Electric City Television's special public affairs program. I'd like to welcome two guests today. Bill Goldsworthy is the Regional Director of the American Red Cross, and he brought a guest along today which leads into a news story. And Michele Baehr is our second guest. And Bill, I guess I'll let you explain what's happening. We're about to see a transition.
Yeah, we're going to see a big transition with the Red Cross. First of all, I'm the Executive Director for Northeastern Pennsylvania, and right now covering 4 chapters. Michele covers 4 chapters in the Pocono area, the Pocono Mountains chapter of the Red Cross.
Counties.
And what's that?
Counties.
And then pretty soon, it's going to merge into one chapter, all of northeastern Pennsylvania. We're going to have actually 10 counties, and Michele will be taking over all 10 counties. Michele's been with the Red Cross for six years. I've been there 5 years, and I'm a little older, so I'm going to be retiring, David. I'm going to be leaving on April 3rd, and Michele will be taking over all 10 counties, and we'll have a new executive director for northeastern Pennsylvania.
Well, welcome, Michele.
Thank you.
And Bill, I certainly wish you a lot of luck. I will tell you that I tried that retirement thing, and of course here I am on television here. So,
well, I think that's probably going to happen to me too.
Yeah.
I can't sit still, David. I'm like you are. You know, you got to do something.
get ready to be very busy. And speaking of being very busy, my question concerning this unity of the various chapters is, how are you going to handle everything? This is going to be a big job, Michele, because I know in speaking with Bill in the past, there are so many things that happen. And one of the amazing things that people don't realize is that when we have a hurricane, when we have a major flood disaster, all of the media's attention is on that. Not so much attention to the fire in Lackawanna County versus the fire in Luzerne County versus some other incident. The small, you're filled with small incidents.
Yeah.
Am I not right?
Sure,
Yes.
absolutely. And you know, we'll continue to serve the mission just like we always do through the power of our volunteers. You know, like Bill is one person managing many counties, I'm one person managing many counties, but we really do that through the power of our volunteers. Currently in the Pocono chapter, which is Wayne, Pike, Monroe, and Carbon counties, we have about 300 volunteers. And the current footprint of Luzerne, Lackawanna, Wyoming, and Susquehanna has over 300 volunteers.
Right.
So while we're out there, as you said, if we do have an event that may be a sheltering event, a mass sheltering event, we still have our volunteers that we call our disaster action team that are always at the ready to respond to those home fires.
All right. Now, Bill, since we've talked to you last, again, we haven't really hit anything major in our area.
Thankfully.
Thankfully, but there have been those many smaller
Sure.
incidents. So you have been, and I guess primarily they're fires.
Yes, that's our main response, of course, is fires. Of course, we do a lot of preventive type events also. I mean, as you know, we install free smoke alarms.
Does that program continue?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I know just in our chapter, our 4 counties were close to, in the 5 years that I've been doing it, 20,000 free smoke alarms.
Wow.
And I know Michele's probably over 10,000 in her counties. So we put in a lot of free smoke alarms. We're hopefully saving a lot of lives. So that is a continuous event that goes on all the time. And, you know, we do other things. Michele, you want to talk about the pillowcase project?
Sure. So we go into the local elementary schools and we teach the 4th and 5th graders, as well as just in this last year, kindergartners. We really teach them what to do in case a fire happens. And we give them a pillowcase, and in the pillowcase, we let them know all of the things that they need to have in case of an emergency.
What do you need in a
Oh,
pillowcase?
you want to make sure you have your favorite toy, a change of clothes, possibly a flashlight, a radio. It's a whole emergency preparedness kit. But most importantly, we teach the children not to be afraid. We teach them what to do. What do you think a child's going to do if they think the house is on fire and they smell smoke and they haven't been educated, right? They might hide in a closet. They might hide under a bed thinking the fire won't get them. So we teach them that fire doubles every 2 minutes. And we also teach them 2 ways to get out of the house, including from their own bedroom, and then the importance of a meeting spot to meet up with their family members, because unfortunately many times family members will escape, they will get out, the smoke alarm did go off, but then they may meander over to a neighbor's house and the family doesn't know that that child is safe or that teenager is safe. And we have had places where fathers have gone back in before the fire company has gotten there, and unfortunately it has resulted in a fire death. So we really try to make sure that the kids are educated to stay calm, know what to do, escape appropriately, and then meet up with their family members outside. And the Pillowcase Project is an unbelievable project. We're very, very successful in this northeastern Pennsylvania area in both of our current chapters, soon to be one, in preparing the community. And then just in the last year or so, we started going all the way into the kindergarten grades and teaching them. We have a little puppet. His name is Pedro, and he's a penguin. And it really helps the kids understand to not be afraid. And the other nice thing is they are then responsible for going home and educating their family members, because around the 4th and 5th grade is when things really, really start to be understood well. And then we ask them to go home, educate their families, their guardians, their grandparents, and just really spread the word about what you can do if you're prepared.
I think that this training has already had some successful results, and I think of 2 areas here. One, I remember several news reports where a fire was reported to the family by a child.
Yes.
Recently, within the past couple of months. Secondly, I believe, Bill, that you said you had a couple incidents where the smoke detectors had been installed, and you've actually had proof that in those couple cases.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had at least 2 fire saves that we know of in our Luzerne-Lackawanna County area, and I know Michele's had 1 or 2 up in her area.
Yes.
So we are saving lives, and it's just so gratifying when you know that you are saving lives. You're doing, you know, and I tell a lot of the groups that we partner with. We always partner with, you know, always the fire companies. So, you know, the city of Scranton, Dunmore, all the local fire companies partner with us. But we also partner with groups, Rotary clubs, key clubs from schools, college students. And we always tell them when we say, like, you know, what you're doing today, you know, you're putting in smoke alarms. You get the gratification when you walk out of the house and you say, I may have saved their life, you know, because it may not happen today, it may not happen 30 days from now, it might be 6 months or a year from now, but that smoke alarm may save a life. And it's just so gratifying when you're walking out of the house knowing that you educated the family, put in the smoke alarms. I'm an old fire chief, so I think it's really close to my heart, the smoke alarm project. And most of the groups that we deal with, you know, at the end of the day, because we always provide them a little lunch for helping us, they'll say, like, wow, it was so neat talking to these people about their smoke alarms, you know. So it is very gratifying.
Yeah, and these alarms are installed free of charge to the people.
Absolutely, and they're 10-year alarms, so they're good for 10 years. You don't even have to change the battery. It's a guaranteed 10-year life warranty on the smoke alarms, and I gotta say it's a great program. Well, so you mentioned, like, you know, we haven't had a lot of big fires, but we've had a lot of small ones, and we do a lot of the preparation work to prepare people for disasters.
Yeah, and I think there's another thing that we don't want to ignore here. You have a couple proven saves by installation of those alarms. There's probably a number of other cases where that has happened, and it just doesn't get back to you that was a direct result of this installation.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of times we try and follow up with the fire company, because obviously we're usually called to a fire by the fire companies, and we try and follow up and say, hey, is this one of the alarm houses we put the alarms in? Sometimes they know, sometimes they don't know. So there probably is more cases that we don't even know and that have been documented.
Sure. I think Red Cross probably is best known for you know, the request for the blood supplies, which, by the way, I guess is still a very critical thing in our overall area.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are always looking for blood donors, and we're always looking for blood sponsors as well. So if people that are watching today have the ability through their company to sponsor a blood drive, all we really need is just a little over 1,000 square feet of room space that has to be air conditioned and heated and have accessibility to electricity. And then you can run a drive either through your program itself, through your company with your internal employees, or you can open it up to the community to come into your business and give blood. And we collect about 15% of the nation's blood supply through all of our local high schools as well.
At the high school level?
At the high school level, yeah. So we have a lot of Red Cross clubs, and we have children that are really striving for scholarships. They're called Leaders Save Lives, and the kids do a great job. So in the summertime, blood donations really drop off because the high schoolers are not in. And of course, in the wintertime, because a lot of drives are canceled. We've been lucky this year.
Yeah.
We've had a really
Weather-wise.
mild winter, but the need for blood is absolutely constant. So if you're well and you have the ability to give blood, you can give every 56 days for whole blood, and all you need to do is go on redcross.org and you can see exactly where the local blood drives are. And every unit of whole blood has the ability to save 3 people's lives.
Wow.
And we've had amazing technological advances recently. We have what we call a rapid pass. So the morning of your blood donation, you can save about 20 minutes by going on the computer or on your smartphone and answering all of the health-related questions.
Oh, so it's pre-screening.
Exactly. And you get a little scan bar that comes up. You can either print it or you can use it on your smartphone. And when you get to the blood drive, it'll save you about 20 minutes. We have digital sign-in now as well when you first get to the blood drive. And we've also just done a lot to really expedite the process so that we are respectful of how much time it takes to give blood. And so we try to cut that because a lot of people are out during their work day and they're giving that hour of time. And recently we have now text messaging that will let you know where your blood has gone, to which hospital,
that's pretty neat.
and even like what type of patient has received
That's
your blood.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really exciting because,
Yeah.
as Bill said, it's so wonderful to hear when the community reports back to how our mission is
Absolutely.
being served. And I got a text message recently that my last blood went to a trauma victim. So it's really just wonderful.
Oh, that's a wonderful improvement. I know from the standpoint of organ donors that so many times it's so appreciated to know somebody specifically who has been
Yes.
been aided by that. So this is, along that same line. I think that's a great advancement.
Yeah.
It is. It's almost like that gratification that you need. Like, I donated blood. I wonder if it helped anybody. Well, we find out now.
Sure.
Because
sure.
usually, I do platelets and plasma.
Now explain that. My son-in-law is a regular platelet
I am also,
donor.
yeah.
How does that differ?
Well, that you could give more often. Okay, you could do that like I go every 3 weeks. I believe it's every 14 days you can give platelets, and they take different products. Okay, I have AB blood, which is the universal platelets. So that could be used by anyone.
They love Bill.
Yeah, and most of platelets and plasmas, that's what's needed for cancer patients. And as we know, cancer is very prevalent everywhere, so there's always a lot of blood needed. And it's a little longer process. It takes about 2 hours because they usually take the blood out of one arm, like I go both arms. So they take it out of one arm and put it back in the other arm. Mm-hmm. It runs through a machine and they take out the product.
This is not done at the regular donation sites then?
Not at a community site, so not in the school or not in the church, but at the blood centers.
All right, okay.
So which we have one here in downtown Scranton and one in the Ashley Center in Wilkes-Barre. That's where the platelets are usually given. And I had just a really, and I don't know if you saw it. I got to tell the story. December 18th, my wife had emergency open heart surgery.
Yes.
And it was really, obviously very traumatic. She never had a problem. And after a couple days, she was in the intensive care. I asked the one nurse, I said, by the way, did my wife use any blood products? She goes, well, yeah, let me look in the computer. She used 9 different blood products she had to have to save her life.
Wow.
And it made me feel good that knowing that I give every 3 weeks.
Sure.
So it was just, a great feeling to know, like, hey, this is really what happens. People
Yeah.
people use all the blood products.
Yeah.
So
Now, some of the other services that don't get as much attention, but deserve it in any case, Red Cross has always, as I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, given CPR training. I know there was lifeguard training at one time.
Sure.
I believe even babysitting, if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken.
Yep, that's all online now, actually, the babysitting
we
course.
still do all three. Well, they still do. They will do a course for you. We have a local law group that sponsors one every year at our building in Wilkes-Barre. But most of the babysitting course is done online. A lot of all three of those courses are done online, and then you can just come and basically, I'll say, take the test, if you will, in a setting. But yeah, we're still doing that. And as Michele said before about the blood drives, any organization, any company, I always say, it's a great benefit to give your employees. Teach them how to do CPR and first aid, because they may save somebody's life.
Right
It
on
could
the
be,
job.
Could be
Sure.
a fellow employee, or it could be someone at their home, a relative, a family friend. And it's just a great benefit to offer your employees at a very minimal cost that could help save a life.
Now,
So-
Michele pointed out something that you have said over and over when you visited us here, which is the great dependency that Red Cross has on volunteers.
Yes.
And there are people who watch, and they say, I like the idea of giving blood, but I'm on medications, I can't do that. I'd like to help, I'd like to volunteer, but what can I do? And what do I know about going to a fire scene and helping somebody out? What do you tell those people?
Well, the thing that we tell them is we will train you, and we will also find something for you to do. There are so many volunteer opportunities in all the avenues of service, and we have many of our volunteers that'll work 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week, sometimes 30 hours a week. And then we have some volunteers that just do 2 or 3 hours a week, and we'll find something for you to do. We'll look at what your time is, when you can donate your time. We will train you in any of the aspects or any of the areas that you're interested in. You don't need to have any background when you come to us. We will make sure that you have everything that you need to go out there and be successful, whether, as you said, you can sit at the canteen after people give blood. We like to make sure that we put some sugar in them, give them some apple juice, talk to them, make sure their lights are still on after they've given blood. That doesn't take any special skill other than being able to communicate with people, which is wonderful. Our disaster action team members that go out and meet with the fire clients, we will train you in how to do that, how much financial support that they receive.
These are the volunteers that really tell the fire victims, we can help you with clothing, we can help you with housing, that sort of thing.
Yes. And we make sure that there are reference guides available for each county, so that if you're responding in Wayne County versus Lackawanna County, you know where all the resources are. That's one thing that Red Cross is really very, very good at, is we are a great community connector. So after you have a fire, yes, we provide all your financial support for the first couple of days when it comes to food, clothing, medications, eyewear, lodging. But then there's many, many needs after that the Red Cross caseworker will put the fire family in contact with to be able to go out there and use all of the county resources that are available.
Do you still use some volunteers to actually go out of this area, for instance, response to hurricane, that sort of thing?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we train those volunteers in different jobs. So it could be maybe a mass shelter. You might be opening a shelter up in a college gymnasium. We will teach the volunteers how to run that shelter, or how to be a shelter manager, how to be part of the shelter team that sets up the cots and the blankets, and how to maybe there's an old chef out there that wants to go out and help cook for these people. We have a job for everyone. Again, a chef might join our feeding team, so they're going to be feeding the people. You may have a minister or a priest out there who may join our team to offer
counseling
after a fire death.
Sure.
Okay, we usually communicate with all the neighbors to make sure they're okay because one of their neighbors passed away. So we have a job for everybody out there.
Anybody interested, just call Red Cross.
It's all they got to do is call the local office, either wherever local office you're at. Just call the local office and say, hey, I'd like to talk to someone about volunteering.
Yeah.
And we have volunteer specialists that'll communicate with them and talk to them about any job they have. I mean,
My hat's off to all of you for all you have been doing. And Michele, I wish you well as you take over this conglomeration of counties. Bill, I've worked with you and known you since you were a fireman.
Yep.
And it's been my pleasure to welcome you on this show and to call you a friend.
David, it's been my pleasure to have you as a friend, and I want to thank you for all of your great work that you do for the Red Cross and helping us and getting us some airtime like this. And I appreciate your friendship for the many years that we've known each other. And
that's my volunteer work.
Yes. Wonderful.
And I'll look forward, Michele, to welcoming you back on the program probably sooner than later.
Wonderful.
I'm David DeCosmo for ECTV's Preview. Until we see you again next time, here's hoping all your news is good.